Hi, my name is Nikolai Yusupov. In this video I'd like to show you how to connect the circuit for your high flow nasal cannula. So I'll explain both the H900 humidifier and also the T1 Hamilton ventilator, right? So the first thing I'm going to point your attention to is, you notice the Hamilton H900, the humidifier, is only powered with the AC power cord. If I take it off, it turns off. There's no batteries. So this unit can only function in the ambulance. So you're not going to bring it up to the floor. You're going to leave it running in the ambulance, right? Because it has to be connected. So you're going to ask me, well, so what are we doing? So from bedside to the stretcher, right, we're going to take the patient without running the humidifier. And once they're inside the ambulance, only then are we going to run the humidifier. So at this point, I'm going to show you how to connect the entire circuit and what pieces you're going to need. So this is the cassette and the circuit for the cannula, right? This piece here is for the sterile water. This is the packaging it comes with, right? So be mindful of the packaging. And when you open it, you're going to have this little baggie in there, right? Do not toss this away. Inside this baggie, you're going to find this adapter. You're going to need this adapter for the interface, right, for your actual attachment of your nasal cannula. So I'm going to show you how to connect them. We have two different ones. And sometimes the hospital may have their own, so you may need to find a different attachment. There's a whole bunch of attachments, so you may need to play around with them to find the appropriate one. For our devices, we're going to use this one. So I'll show you how to connect it. So I got my cassette out, and you'll see two limbs. The longest limb is going to go towards the patient. The short limb is going to go into the ventilator, and I'm going to show you how this connects, right? So you will take your cassette, nothing is in there, it's empty, right? And I'm going to firmly sit this cassette into my H900. Make sure it clicks, right? Usually when you turn this on, it will check the prongs on both ends, and if they're correctly seated, these two arrows are going to be green. In our case, they're red because this unit has to be serviced, but for the demonstration purposes, it's still fine, right? So when this is fully seated in, these two arrows have to be green, right? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my spike, right, and I'm going to spike this with sterile water. It cannot be saline, it cannot be lactated ringers, it has to be sterile water. So this is, I wrote here sterile water, right? But for demonstration purposes, I'm using lactated ringers. I have a lot of these, but in real life, only sterile water. So you'll basically remove your spike, right? Remove this portion, and you're going to spike it. There's no roller clamp on it, none of that. It will automatically free flow to the correct amount. There's nothing you need to worry about. All you have to do is make sure it's sterile water, right? And you connect it to your cassette, right? So now we're going to talk about what goes where, right? So we said the long limb is to the patient, right? So I'm going to leave this for now. The short limb is going to go into your ventilator. So I'll show you on the side of the Hamilton, right? You will see, right? This is that exhaust, and this is, right, that goes to the patient. So this connection is going to go right here. So short limb, right, to the Hamilton T1, right? I'm going to leave this for now. You notice it's short, so these two units have to be next to each other. I'm going to leave it like this for now so you could see, right? So now I have the long limb, right? And you could see, right, my water is already flowing into the chamber, right? I'm going to get to the interface connection. One thing you definitely need to know is when you turn this on, right, you'll see this button here at the bottom, and it will give you different modes. So if I'm cycling through it, you see this is non-invasive auto, this is high flow auto, right? And then for our purposes, I'm going to just leave it at high flow auto. We're using it high flow nasal cannula, and it's in the auto mode, right? And this will take it to 35 degrees Celsius, which is about 95 Fahrenheit, right? It'll automatically do it. So set it at high flow, and that's it. Now let's come to this interface right here. So now you're gonna say, well, how am I gonna connect it to the patient, right? So this portion is go to the patient, and I told you, right? We're gonna have a couple of different connection points. So this is the adapter that comes in this baggie, right? What you're gonna do is you're gonna connect it like so. And when you have this baggie, right, with this adapter, the first cannula will connect very easily like this, right? You will put this strap around the patient's neck, and this will be behind their head, and this will go into their nostrils. right? So you want to use appropriate size. So this is one size, and then the next size that I'll show you, right, comes in this packaging here, right, and it has these strips in order to secure this device to the patient's face. The connection point, you still need this adapter, right, and this small adapter will be in the supply packaging. So you connect it like so, and then to the circuit. And then what you do is, these strips, I took them out of the packaging, they're gonna go on the patient's face, right, side and side, right, like this. You're gonna basically put them on, and when you're ready to connect your cannula, you'll basically peel this off, and you peel this off, right? We're gonna pretend this is going to the patient, right, like that. And then once you're situated properly, you're gonna basically close them down like that, right? So, and this will be facing to the patient, right? And if you get confused, right, it has all the instructions and inside the packaging. So this will be, these two strips mount to the patient's cheeks, and this will basically go into the nostrils, right? So that's it. This is to the patient, right? So now we are connected. Now, how do you set the mode on the ventilator? So let me move this up so you guys can see. So let me put this here. Now, I turn this on, right? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna click modes. And in the modes you see high flow O2. You're gonna select this mode. It's touchscreen, right? And when I know this is the mode, I confirm, right? You only see two things appearing. You have liters per minute, right, flow, and the oxygen. For the purpose of demonstration, I don't want to waste any oxygen, so I'm going to take this oxygen to 21% or room air, because I don't want to waste any, right? Both of these numbers are going to be displayed at the bedside, right, on the patient's ventilator, so you know exactly how much the patient is getting. Usually the flow is set based on patient's weight, right, and oxygen is per the physician, whatever they believe is necessary to maintain oxygenation based on pulse ox, maybe ABGs and so forth. So let's say for this demonstration purposes, it was 15 liters per minute at 21%. We confirm. I click confirm, right, and then all I have to do is click start therapy, right? And so once my therapy starts, you see, right, your 15 liters per minute, 21% oxygen, right? So now we are delivering, right, the high flow nasal cannula. So this limb, right, is to our humidifier, and this we already connected to the patient, right? We're gonna pretend this is going to the nostril, and we have our bag, right? So now you'll say, well, you just told me, right, I can't use this device in order to move the patient to the ambulance, right? So what am I going to do? So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna leave this device the way it's connected in the bus, right, in your ambulance. I'm gonna put this into standby mode for a second. Right, activate standby. You're going to come over here and you're going to disassemble this limb. The way you do it is basically just going to pull this out. So this was to the patient side, right? And by the way, these limbs, the small one and the big one is not interchangeable. The big one has electrical connections that the H900 reads, and inside there's metal coils. This is what keeps this heated, right? So these lines are not interchangeable. So I check this out. The next thing I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to take this limb off the ventilator, right? And I'm going to take this unit and I'm going to leave this in the bus. So this is, and I'm going to put it on standby, right? Standby. I'll leave the fluids, everything in the bus. This limb here is going to be connected to our towards the patient side, right, like so. So now, right, we're connected to the patient. We can still deliver, so I'm going to show you, right? We're going to start therapy, right? We're back at 15 liters per minute, 21% oxygen, right? You hear the flow, right? So when I pick up the patient on this ventilator, this is exactly how I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the settings per the physician they set, right? Connect the limb just at the top. There's nothing else you're going to need. You're going to put this on the patient, make sure they're comfortable, right? Explain to the patient, move them to the ambulance. Now, I'm inside the ambulance, right? I load the patient in, right? and I have to connect it to the humidifier. You're gonna say, well, what is the reasoning? Why do we have to be on the humidifier in the first place? And the reasoning is as follows. This limb, right, with high flow is gonna get very, very hot, and it's gonna be uncomfortable for the patient. So, and we're delivering the oxygen, right, via high flow, so it might be 20 liters, 25 liters, 30 liters per minute, and it's gonna dry out the patient. It's gonna be very uncomfortable. So we have to humidify it, right? And I talked to the physician, one of the attending physicians at the Jacobi, and they all stated, right, that you do want to humidify it, right? So I'm gonna reconnect the humidifier. I'll show you how to do it. So we're gonna take this unit, right? I have to move this closer, right? So usually everything will be secured with the belts, right? So it's stationary. I'm just showing you the connections. I'm going to unplug this from the Hamilton, right? And you could put it on standby if you want. If you don't, it will just alarm. So I just take this off. I'm going to be careful with the electrical connections. I'm going to go again reconnect it. If I did this right, this will be a green arrow, but this unit needs to be serviced. This goes back into the original position on the Hamilton. And then I'm going to click start. I remove it from the standby, and I want to make sure I'm in high flow auto. So I'm high flow auto. It's going to go to 35 degrees Celsius, right? And I hear the delivery, right, of the high flow oxygen to the patient, right? So you could just point at me, yeah. So now we're delivering therapy. I'm monitoring. So something you want to be cognizant about, right? I'm just going to just put it on standby so it stops beeping, right? So put this on standby as well. So one thing you want to be cognizant as you're going to provide therapy, you're going to see condensation start to develop, basically water to develop, and sometimes there's quite a bit of water. So when you see there's a bunch of water before the patient gets splashed with all this sterile water, right, that goes into the nostrils, what you want to do is you want to disconnect it from the patient and drain it, right? Drain both of the circuits, right? So there's no condensation and fluid developing. The other thing you can do is decrease your temperature, right? You could put it on standby so the temperature drops. And there's two sliders here. Let me show you so you can see, right? So the bottom slider controls the temperature in this cassette. So if I press here, right? So let me turn this on. And if I were to adjust it, right? This, if I touch it, you see how it's sliding down? I can slide down to decrease the temperature that's coming out here. This one, the touchscreen here, adjusts the temperature gradient between what's here and how much comes out here. So you can adjust the gradient. The first thing I would do is drop the temperature in the cassette. So drop the temperature in the cassette, right? Or you could place it on a standby for the brief period of time. I quickly dump all the condensation, right? So that the patient is not getting any sterile water splash. Dump the condensation, reconnect, right? And you could decrease the temperature, you know, maybe if you are 35, drop it down to 30, let them get a little low temperature so that they're not being splashed with any sterile water. So again, this device is only for transport. Inside the ambulance has to be plugged in. And then let's say we arrive at the destination, right? Time to go up to the facility to, you know, drop off the patient. A procedure is the same, right? So this unit stays here, right? One more time so you guys can see. This disconnects from the ventilator. This disconnects from the H900. I reconnect this back, right? This unit is placed in standby mode, and I'm going to just move this over here. Be very careful, very careful. This part gets hot at the bottom, so do not touch it with your fingers. You may get burned, right? So all this sterile water, right? And this unit and all of this stuff stays on the bus. This is the patient, right, on high flow and connection, right, is going to be taking up to the floor, and then in the facility they're going to get reconnected back to high flow with humidification. So basically this is how you would set up your circuit, set up your H900 and Hamilton, and then take the patient and then bring him here, reconnect everything, and then again DC him from this unit, reconnect. Right, that's it.